Hi there, my name is Jean Ann Devaney, and I'd like to welcome you to the second in a series of presentations for my oral communications class at Baker College. Today we're going to be talking about a very classic brunch cocktail. So picture, if you will, you're at brunch where you have a plethora of choices, whether it's breakfast or lunch, eggs, pancakes, waffles, sausage, bacon, or if you're more in a lunch mood, you can visit the carving station, prime rib, turkey, pasta station. There are salads and dinner rolls, cheese platters, vegetables, dessert, anything your heart desires. You get back to your seat, the waiter asks you if you'd like a cocktail, and what's the first thing that comes to mind? The classic Bloody Mary. And that's what we're going to be talking about here today. So before we get into how to make the classic Bloody Mary, I would like to give you a little background into how the Bloody Mary originated and how it got its name. So the Bloody Mary comes to us actually from Paris, France. There was a bar in Paris, France back in the 1920s called Harry's New York Bar. And at that bar, the bartender's name was Fernand Patois, known to family and friends simply as Pete. So Pete, the bartender, had gotten his hands on some vodka during this time. Russians were migrating into Paris, bringing with them vodka, and Pete didn't care much for the vodka. He was trying to mix it with anything he could think of just to spice it up and give it some flavor. And one day, Pete's friends came into the bar and they were having some drinks, looking over the menu. They were talking about something on the menu called a tomato juice cocktail. Now, back in the days of Prohibition, when there was no alcohol to be found, restaurateurs labeled tomato juice a tomato juice cocktail to give it that feel. And so all of a sudden a light bulb went off in Pete's head and he said, hey, why don't I mix this tomato juice cocktail with the vodka and see what we get? And there was the birth of the Bloody Mary. Now the name, where the name comes from, there are a few different stories floating around out there. The simplest one being that day, one of the friends' names who was orchestrating some of these thoughts was Mary, and that the tomato juice in the cocktail refers to the blood. So Bloody Mary, very simple, easy, right? Kind of boring. The more ominous story is that the cocktail was named after Queen Mary I of England. Now, Queen Mary was trying to reverse the English Reformation in favor of Catholicism. And the rumor goes that anyone in England at the time who would oppose Queen Mary's Catholicism efforts was burned at the stake. So the bloody representative of all the deaths of those people that lost their lives. And of course the name Mary comes from Queen Mary. So usually the more ominous Gothic story is the one that takes precedence, which makes me understand more why restaurateurs later on in years tried to change the name of Bloody Mary because of its origin, or the thoughts of its origin, to the Red Snapper. But the name Red Snapper was not strong enough to overpower the story behind the Bloody Mary. So there is a cocktail out there called the Red Snapper. It has some kind of clam juice or something else in it, but the Bloody Mary name held true, and that is the classic brunch cocktail. So now I would like to demonstrate for you how to make a classic Bloody Mary. So to make the Bloody Mary, there are a few things you will need in terms of tools. A shaker, I recommend a shaker that has the lid and a strainer to keep the excess ice out. Obviously a glass of choice. And when making any cocktail, I always recommend having a towel for any spills, or we're going to be touching some lemon and lime, your hands get sticky, so you just want to have something that you can quickly wipe off. Okay, so we'll go ahead and get started. So first, I have a little plate here with some celery salt on it. Okay, so I just have that on the plate. We're going to take, you could use your lemon or your lime. I am going to take the lime. We're going to take our glass and we're just going to wet it all around the rim. Nice, fully. Make sure it's all coated. We'll set that aside. And then we're going to take this glass and fully coat the edge of the glass. I'll bring it up here so that you can see that. Okay, you might want to move it around just a little bit to make sure that you're getting it fully coated. And voila, beautiful. You have a full coat on the glass. Okay, we'll set that aside. I'm going to take some ice. And we're just going to go ahead and fill that glass with some ice. Not too much. Maybe we'll take just one out. Okay. And then we're just going to set that glass aside until we're ready. Now to prepare the cocktail, the fun part. So we're going to go ahead and open up our shaker. We're going to take one lemon wedge. We're going to squeeze it in. We're just going to drop that wedge in. Going to also take a lime wedge, squeeze it in, drop it. We need the towel again. Good thing we have that. Okay. Then we are going to take a pinch each of our dry ingredients. So we've got our celery salt. We've got our smoked paprika. That is quickly, just the smell is delicious. It's becoming my favorite spice. And then just some classic ground pepper. Squeeze it in right there. Okay, now the wet ingredients. 4 ounces of tomato juice. The standard size little can here is 5.5 ounces. So we're just going to go ahead, pour it in. We'll leave a little reserve so that we know we're probably right at about 4 ounces. There's our tomato juice. We're going to put in 2 ounces of our vodka here. Use a standard shot glass. 1 and 2. Perfect. Okay. Okay, the next ingredient is going to be our prepared horseradish. We need 2 teaspoons of prepared horseradish. You want to go ahead and dump that right in there. Even it out. I wish you could smell it. It smells delicious. Okay, we're going to take our Worcestershire sauce. 2 little dashes there. The Tabasco sauce, and again, any of these flavors can be at your leisure. It's however spicy or not spicy you like it, that's up to you. I'm just giving you the classic. Is 2 dashes of each. Okay, so now we're ready to shake. We're going to add a little bit of ice to that. There we go. You don't want to get the ice too much because then you have trouble shaking. We're going to go ahead and put it on there and we'll give it a nice shake. I'm excited. Okay, and we'll just take the top off. We'll leave the strainer on. And we're going to bring our glass back. We're going to go ahead and pour that right in. Lift it up so you can see. Maybe I'll get some of the ice back in there. So getting it all fill up. Lovely. Okay. Now for the garnish. So as I alluded to earlier, many people love the classic garnish of a celery stalk. So we can put that in there. My personal favorite is a garlic pickle. Adds a nice little flavor and the drink kind of seeps into the pickle. It's a lovely little thing to snack on after. And then other people might like an olive. I have here for us today some blue cheese stuffed olives just to add a little prettiness to the cocktail. And there you have it, everyone. You have your classic Bloody Mary cocktail. So I hope you've enjoyed this presentation. And as always, please drink responsibly.